Hi friends, Mario Cavallo here with The Dragon Roars On. I can't tell you how excited I am right now to share this video. This is the most special video I've made in years, and without a doubt the most special video I'm making in 2020. Because this video is going to be the audiobook read of, and on video obviously, of the incredible article that I wrote a few days ago, posted on LinkedIn, about the coronavirus outbreak situation in China, and which in 5 days went global, with now quickly approaching 1.5 million views, over 10,000 likes, thousands of shares. It's incredible. It's already been translated into Chinese. I've already been contacted by all major media in China for reprints, prints, interviews. It's incredible. And it's all because somehow, finally, my fate in the universe, I wrote these words, I wrote this message, which just had to come out of me. It was just the next article that I needed and wanted to write. And I took my time and I did it right and clear and balanced the way I always make the effort to do, but this one struck a chord. It struck a chord in people's hearts and minds. That's what it did. Obviously. It's tough what's happening, and I'm going to talk more about it. I'm going to read through what I've been thinking, what I was feeling when I wrote this article. I'm going to read through the article, commentary. All right? Sort of like an informal audiobook read. I'm really happy to share this with you, and I want to thank everyone, all 1.5 million plus people who read this article on LinkedIn, but that's not even the story, because it's already been republished by China Daily. It's going to go in the print edition of China Daily. It's been translated by H1N1, Global Times. It's there. It's in People's Daily. It's going in all the print editions. It's incredible. And as well, I'll tell you more in another video, interviews on the TV stations that are being arranged, primarily with CGTN. I'll tell you about that in another video. Right now, I want to read this video for all of you. So not only are we going to capture the words again, we're going to capture the words that were with me feeling what I was feeling as I was thinking, well, I need to write this. This is the next article that I need to write. And it starts right there. You sense that little bit of frustration in my voice, that serious tone. Well, that's where it starts. And so many people apparently have that same sense, that word frustration. You know, something that we care about, something that we're tired of, we know it's not right. What is it? There's something's not right here, folks. There it is, right there. Had to be the title. And I thought what was going on here, this anti-China sentiment that, there's a lot of things in Western media these days, and the media foments it. There's no doubt about it. The media foments it. Attacking and negative. And China's one of those topics. I guess you need an enemy. And China's rise is a threat to what's been happening in the West. I get it. But I moved here 20 years ago. I have a Chinese family. This is my home. I'm tired of it. It needs to stop. It's xenophobic. It's racist. It's biased. It's negative. And the world does not need that. Okay? Don't be negative. Spread bad vibes. And yet that's exactly what the whole media does in the whole society. It's sick, and it needs to stop. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, wait a minute. And right away my mind starts racing, comparing. And boom, there was the comparison. So, well, what about the previous virus outbreaks? When the United States 2009 H1N1 swine flu emerged, it was an international emergency, declared global pandemic, and it started by saying that by the end of that year, it was like 1.6 million who had been infected, and 18,000 that had died. But in fact, it had eventually infected 60 million globally. And far worse than that, the H1N1 global pandemic hit close to an estimated 300,000 deaths, according to these final tallies in 2012, which all I'm doing is quoting the CDC, Center for Disease Control. Their work, their research, their reporting, their estimates, and I included the link in the article. So you can't argue with me about it. Okay? And I thought, okay, that's terrible. That's human tragedy. It's worse than the average annual flu. That's the point. Okay? Not as bad as Ebola, not as bad as SARS, but worse than the average flu. So I'm scratching my head at how bizarrely these negative forces are, again, even in a human crisis of people dying and trying to protect the world, negative forces are still attacking China with this anti-China sentiment against the government and even now the people, as it engages in a remarkably aggressive front addressing this coronavirus, this outbreak which started in Wuhan, central China. And I'm forced to think about this, to ask and answer a few questions. And that's what we're doing. During the 2009 H1N1 outbreak, I don't recall xenophobic anti-American attacks across the globe. Do you? Oh, someone said, few people. Oh, but it started in Mexico. Excuse me, a few early cases were found in Mexico, but then the whole outbreak had started out globally into the world from America, and it was the CDC that was responsible, was handling the whole thing, and I'm reporting it all from the CDC's point of view, which is the United States institution. The fact that a few early infections of people were in Mexico doesn't change the narrative, doesn't change the intended meaning of the narrative of the article, does it? No. Were they anti-American attacks? No. I don't remember any. Either in America, amongst Americans, or outside of America, looking at America with this virus that America had. Like a movie, right? Like a disaster movie. No. So why is it now with China? Because it's the same old anti-China sentiment bashing, that's why. Even now with a human problem like this, it's pretty disgraceful. Did any government from the onset in April 2009 through the end in April 2010, including the month of June, when H1N1 was declared an international emergency global pandemic, did any government then send out a notice to its citizens that they should leave the United States? Close the border to the American travelers, in or out? Nope, not a peep. No negative sentiment. Now, am I saying that maybe we shouldn't cancel some flights? Maybe we shouldn't shut borders temporarily? Maybe we shouldn't control the flow of people? No, I'm not saying that. I don't know. I'm saying my argument isn't that. My argument isn't about the statistics. My argument isn't about that. My argument is about the xenophobic attitudes that are underlying and underpinning and painting the canvas of what's happening. That's my problem. And apparently, it's a lot of people's problem. Because so many people said, Mario, we read your article and somehow you just hit it right on the mark. You just said exactly what I've been feeling and thinking. Thank you. That's it. We struck this chord, and now we're united in it. Like I said, something's not right, folks. We're reading hateful, vicious attacks on the Chinese government for their supposed intentional conspiracy to intentionally underreport the number of infections. Yet, and this is what I learned at the CDC website, so I'm not blaming the CDC, the same as I'm not blaming China's government either. There's no blame. This is exactly and always the case with such flu outbreaks, flu-type virus outbreaks, no matter what country. And the CDC reports illustrate that clearly. The U.S. H1N1 swine flu numbers were vastly underestimated, and 3 years later, because, dear friends, that is the nature, and updated 3 years later, okay, because that is the nature of such viral outbreaks which don't care which country they started in. Now, I said something earlier that some of you quickly, wait a minute. No, they were hiding something. Yeah. Early on, we know all this. This is not a reason to blame China. There were a few local officials in Wuhan early on, and we learned that some healthcare doctors, including, God bless, he died, Dr. Li Wenliang, went to them, and they said, oh, no, keep quiet. Okay, and they threatened him, keep quiet. And they threatened him, and this, keep quiet. We all agree they shouldn't have done that. And they're in a lot of trouble. It's reported in the news. It's being discussed in the news in China and outside of China. Nobody's trying to hide it. This was local government officials who individual human beings, made the error. They're the exception. You don't blame an entire country of people. You don't blame an entire government that runs a country of 1.3 billion people for the actions of a few local government officials, do you? No, of course not. And they are being dealt with. In fact, the system of China is angry with them and so intent on making sure that government officials don't do anything like that again. There's individual incompetence and mistakes and corruption in all people, in all governments, everywhere. It's not a reason to attack China. China government and Chinese people have attacked those local government officials. We all agree. No one's trying to hide it. It's still being talked about. But it's now spilt milk. It's now spilt milk. It was weeks ago. Why are you even thinking about it or dwelling on it now? The U.S. H1N1 swine flu numbers were vastly underestimated and updated 3 years later, because that is the nature of such viral outbreaks which don't care which country they started in. There's never enough manpower. There's never enough test kits. There's never enough medicine or medical supplies. China's not trying to hide these hardships. China's saying, of course we're short on supplies. Anybody would be in this kind of a situation, this kind of a crisis. We need help. Thank you. I'm happy to announce, by the way, that even though there's this, 冲突的 relationship, this conflict relationship in a lot of ways between America and China, but even today, by the way, I saw the U.S. Department of State message that said the U.S. had put up another $100 million to help, along with all the other international countries and all the other aid that's coming in to help. Great, and thank you. So yeah, good things are happening too. Good. They need to. This is not a conspiracy. It's just tragedy. China's not trying to hide these hardships. They're all well known. They're being reported on the news daily in China. You say they're trying to hide something. They're trying to hide the problems with the hospital beds. They're trying to build hospital space for more people as fast as they can. Only in China could it get built in 10 days, which they did. So, oh no, that's fake, that's not true. Excuse me, hey folks. China the place that you say tries to hide everything, put a live stream 24-hour camera on the site so you could watch the whole thing. How's that hiding anything? Come on. There are always people who die. Thousands of them, whom we'll never know if they actually died because of a particular virus. Those are the facts. Doesn't matter. Just like the CDC said, they had to go back and say, who actually died from this virus all over the world? We don't know. We got to go back. And the number goes up, 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 up. These are the facts. It's not a problem unique to China's healthcare system or government. It's a problem unique to the nature of these kind of tragedies, of viral pandemics. It's a bad thing for everybody, folks, regardless of race, skin color, religion, or country. I'm going to say it again. It's not a conspiracy. It's just tragedy. According to the June 27, 2012 research report follow-up 3 years later, this gets much more disturbing when you learn about the CDC's final estimate of the H1N1 virus global death toll. I put this information from the article right there in the article. All I did was say, these are the numbers from the CDC. I'm not making anything up. I'm not fiddling around with any numbers. You see what I mean? I'm just in a balanced way, clear, saying, this is what I read. Here it is. You go to that website and you find out the initial number of CDC's 18,449 total deaths at the end of 2009, by the time it ended in April of 2010. Well, this was regarded as well below the true total. The CDC's 18,449 total deaths number was regarded as well below the true total. Because many people who die of flu-related causes, they don't even know. They're not tested for the diseases. We don't even know that they really had died from that. For example, an old person, they get the flu, they die of cardiac arrest because they got the flu, and actually the death goes on the certificate says cardiac arrest. Or natural causes. Doesn't say they died of the flu virus. You see? That's how that works. So it's not clear. It's not accurate. It's the nature of the medical industry. So, again, during the 2009 outbreak, was anyone accusing the American medical and government authorities of hiding the numbers? Were Americans with hiding? Were Americans with hidden cameras strolling into the Mayo Clinic to prove how many people actually were dying there? The absurdity of these vicious attacks are that whether or not a person specifically does have the coronavirus or some other viral bug, like a flu bug, presenting with some pneumonia and other symptoms, actually, the treatment is the same. It's a virus. Something's not right here, folks. The world should be applauding China's unprecedented, broad, aggressive response. And in fact, mark my words, it's already happening. Okay? This response of everyone here in China, as I speak, right now, we've got 1.3 billion people, including my wife and kid in the other room. We're home for 2 weeks. We haven't gone anywhere. Everything's shut down. Stay home. Don't let the virus spread. Don't spread the flu to everybody else. Again, it's a flu-type virus, but it's more nasty. And that's why it's important to not let it become a global pandemic if that's at all possible. What a sacrifice everybody's making. At the government's directive, with people, dutiful citizens, agreeing and saying, we know, we understand. You got a whole country falling on the economic sword to protect the people for their health, to protect the society, to protect the community, to protect families, people. Me, my wife, my son, families, grandmas, grandpas. What the hell you think we're doing this? Why do you think we're home for the last 2.5 weeks with the schools still shut? What is the purpose? Is to save people's lives? I think. What other purpose is it? We're taking it in the shorts economically. Hundreds of $billions a week gone. Economic sacrifice. Personal sacrifice. Nobody's having a good time doing this, but we're all doing it. I think another week or so, we're going to start coming out of it. The joy of spring's coming. You hear me?